Story Species Story Medicine, Extra Strength. Ready to take your medicine with Gina Virginia Casella?
Species of medicine, open for the task. Extra strength is everything you'd ever ask. Many with the soil, many with the sea. Earth is a medicine for you and for me. Scrubbing off the tarnish, building up the trust. Honest little tales, rising from the rust. Truth is in the living, truth is in skin. Open up the portal, let the healing in. Extra strength, extra soul. Medicine to make us whole. Feel the rhythm, feel the pace. In every single space. Are you ready for the cure? Keep it steady, keep it pure. Extra strength.
Hey, Dragon Dreamers, Gina Virginia Casella here. Hope you're all having a fabulous day. And today we have a real treat. Soma ARah, one of our Dragon speakers for our upcoming conference, Summer Daze, here with me live today with you. Today we're going to dive into Soma's story medicine. I've got a little biography here to read, but what's really special about Soma is, like many of you, and myself included, she experienced some trauma, and then it triggered her. And that began her relationship with the Pleiadians, only to discover that she always had a relationship with them. And so, like many of you, how many of you can relate to Soma and feel alone because you don't have anybody to talk to about it, or because, in your family, you're not allowed to talk about that kind of stuff, right? And so stories are medicine. We're a story species. Just before I bring Soma to the stage here, let me read you her biography. So if you're not familiar with Soma ARah, Soma is a galactic light worker and Pleiadian channel. Soma is Pleiadian and Lyran starseed hybrid with a profound mission to assist humanity during this era of ascension. Known as a Pleiadian ambassador and warrior of the heart, Soma has served as a channel for the Pleiadians since childhood, sharing their wisdom to inspire, uplift, and guide humanity. She helps to guide humanity towards higher frequencies and a new earth. As a healer, visionary, and intuitive, Soma embodies many roles. Ascension guide. What does this mean? This means empowering individuals to navigate the path of awakening and personal transformation. She's also known as a psychic medium and starseed reader, offering profound insights through Akashic records and multidimensional connection. Soma is also a light worker and empath, sharing healing energy as a Reiki master, shamanic practitioner, and channel for divine light. Her spiritual journey began at age 8, marked by a conscious connection with the Pleiadians. At age 12, an out-of-body experience changed her forever, and she began to walk a path with Jesus. She was redirected to her path, leading her to meditate and study esoteric teachings. Guided by the Pleiadians, she received direct education through downloads, transmissions, and spiritual teachings, bypassing traditional schooling. Soma's work spans channeling, readings, courses, workshops, and books, including The Pleiadian Child and What's Really Going On. She is the CEO of Cosmic Starseeds Academy. Her mission aligns with the ancient galactic collective, often referred to as the 144,000 dedicated to raising planetary frequencies and creating harmonious new Earth. As Galactic Grandmother April Cordner described, chosen by our ancient galactic cousins to communicate the messages for humanity. Soma serves as a beacon of light and transformation, inspiring growth, healing, and spiritual awakening. There's so much to say about Soma, and today we're in for a real treat. Hi, Indian M1020. I see you there in the chat. Soma, let's bring you to the stage. A big, warm dragon welcome to you. How are you doing today?
Hello, Gina. I'm doing really well. All the more better for being here.
Well, we're so pleased to have you. And this
Thank
Saturday,
you.
you're going to be... Oh, go ahead. There was an overlap. Sorry.
Oh, no, that's okay. There's a little bit of a delay. I'm just delighted to be here. And I'm delighted to be one of the speakers at your events that you have coming up. What I'm really looking forward to is getting to share with your audience some of the reality of our true nature and who we are and where we're from and why we're here and who we're connected to, within the universe and all of that. I'm so looking forward to it.
Yes, and for those of you who don't know, at some point with Soma today, I'll show you the Buy Me a Coffee post that went out. It has all the special links and images there. And one of the images is a special message that Soma provided. I asked all the Dragon speakers to provide a special message. And I don't remember exactly the words, but it was something like, we were always here. We've always been here. And it reminded me of a saying that I work with. We are the old people. We are the new people. We are the same people, wiser than before. And when I read your special message, I thought, yes, that's in alignment with me. Like, we're the Pleiadians, we're everything. Do you want to talk about your special message a little bit, or?
Yes, please. Yes, I would like to. And it very much resonates and ties in with what you're saying now and with the energies that you bring as well. The message came up there.
I come from Lyra, Pedro is saying.
Yes, amazing.
Pedro's
amazing. Darcy.
Yes.
Yeah, and I can really feel that energy of him, the Lyran energy. It's funny how and you will know this as well. It's funny how we can be seemingly so separated, like we can be in such a far distant places, and yet we have this amazing technology that connects us, and we're able to read for people regardless the distance, or even the time distance doesn't matter. If someone's passed away. But yes, so recently I've been getting messages to do with dragons and also the elementals and unicorns and giants and the Sasquatch, but most particularly the giants, which seems to be an integral part of your work and what you do. And we are all individual. Our missions are individual. So mine would be more to channel the Pleiadians, and your energy very much feels to me like that there's a whole dragon element there. So although we both have this awareness and ability to read for people, and we're of course aware of natural laws and a lot of the things that we've been lied to on a mass scale, we are aware of that, and we are psychics and mediums and starseeds and blah blah blah. But when you bring it down, we have an individual, unique imprint, mission to bring forth certain energies that we really resonate with and connect. And with you, I feel it's dragons.
What's interesting too is there's a strong belief out there that the way the ascension process, conscious evolution, is unfolding is that folks like dragons and unicorns, we don't see those, but now we're starting to, because of all of this merging and bridging and ascension. And so people out there might see like a dragon in the sky, or they might see something in the water that takes shape. And they might also think that they're losing their mind or something like that, when really, in truth, they're just being exposed to the truth and what's really there. And they don't have anybody to talk to about that. And it's interesting that you mentioned giants, because both giants and unicorns, they haven't presented in my book series or dreams, but I feel like they're very much part of that family, if you will. And it's almost like the dragon is so big and gigantic because it's part of that giant family when everything was just big and gigantic, you know? So there's a lot of layers that you just um, opened there, if you will. And Pedro was saying in Brazil, there is a royal Garda. They are called dragons of freedom. I didn't know that, Pedro. That's interesting. So, Soma, tell us a little bit about Jesus and the dragons, because you've mentioned that before. Yeshua, excuse me, is what you call him. And I didn't know that. And when we were chatting about dragons, that came into me. See, the problem with Soma and I is that we really need like 500 hours to do a show because our conversations go in different directions. And Soma's such an interesting person to chat with. But tell us a little bit about the dragons and Yeshua. Why don't we start there?
Okay, let's start there. So one of the live, I often do live channelings, and within that often comes new information, not just for my audience and other people's audience, but also for me. Like sometimes when I'm channeling, I'll be questioning things and saying, oh, I didn't know that. And one of the messages I had, which I find really fascinating, is that not only were dragons real, but Yeshua or Jesus, I call him both, were real, and he had dragons, and he wouldn't. And of course, it's interesting because I channel the Pleiadians, but I've also have a very strong connection to Jesus or Yeshua, where to the point I do channel him, and he is or was one of the Pleiadians. But during one of my live channelings, one of the messages that came through was that Yeshua had real dragons, and he wouldn't have said that he owned them, but they were more, he used the word familiar or family, because that's where the word familiar comes from. It comes from family. And that was, I found that very surprising. Not that dragons had existed in the past, but that he had had dragons. And so that's one of the things that he, that came through. The other thing I wanted to share today is that at the downfall of Atlantis, when we were invaded by negative ET energies, the downfall of Atlantis, there was many projects and programs and things going on where we were dumbed down through our DNA as well, which affected everything within us, our consciousness, our ability to connect with the galactics and the star nations. And at that time, I believe at that time, things like elementals and unicorns and giants and the dragons, the unseen nature fairies and spirits, all chose to become non-physical and move into a higher dimension in order to survive, because the reptilians were going to make everything extinct completely, where they wouldn't have been able to move into a higher dimension, so to speak. So a lot of them chose to leave because of the low frequency that was governing our planet at the time and Atlantis. So, and everything was much bigger. So these unicorns and dragons and giants, I have been also told that there are giants that still exist physically in Scotland, of all places. And the one I saw was very he had red hair, so he was he looked Scottish, you know, with the red hair. So all of these things, all of these beings moved into a higher frequency. And there was a time when the earth was much smaller, and everything was much bigger, everything that existed on the earth. So the trees, the birds, the plants, the insects, us or giants.
You're cutting out a lot, Soma. I'm going to remove you from the stage and bring you right back. Hold on a sec here. Okay, sometimes this helps. Okay, Soma, you keep cutting out. Try again. I wasn't able to hear you there. Something was up with the internet.
Okay. How is that now?
It's still kind of cutting out a bit.
Better?
Let me try and... Yep, now I think it's better, yeah. So the part that I caught was you were talking about how things long ago were larger and planet Earth itself was much smaller, and things like just general plants and trees were jumbo-sized after the fall of Atlantis. That's what I caught.
Okay. So, yes. So the Earth was much smaller, and everything that existed on it was bigger. And in order to control us, they got the reptilians who invaded us at the before the downfall of Atlantis, which caused the downfall of Atlantis. They began to change our DNA and the DNA of many different beings. And what was interesting is I was walking along today and I was looking at the plants, and I was questioning because I was questioning, but I'll bring that in a little bit. So one of the things that they've said is that the Earth has really been adapted for humans. It's not something that yes, it's something that evolved naturally, but it has been adapted by beings like the Pleiadians. But also the negative. The plants have been adapted for us. The size of the earth has been adapted for us. The air, the sky, the sun, the moon, everything is working perfectly. But it's not even a natural thing. They were interferences, both positively and negatively. But I'm talking about including others like to suit us. There's also a belief that we came from Mars to Earth, and so I'm not sure. I guess it's around the downfall of Atlantis when the Earth was adapted for us. Although there's two streams going on there simultaneously, or perhaps it's previous to that. The Pleiadians have said that they adapted the Earth to suit humanity, to be more sustainable, to be more breathable, to be more livable. And I was walking along today and I was looking at the plants and I was thinking to myself, where did the plants come from? Where did the trees come from? Because because many people would question, where did we come from? I have an understanding of that because of the my connection to the Pleiadians and my channeling. I have an understanding of where we come from and why we're here. But my question to myself earlier was, who created the plants? Who created the trees? Who created and I've never really asked that before. But when you look at everything within nature and remedies, everything and even weeds, everything has is designed to be of benefit to humanity. So that's one of the reasons I was questioning myself lately today, because I've been really getting into remedies and things. And every plant, even weeds, there's some benefit there to us. And I don't think that's a natural thing. I think that is designed like we were designed to, and I think the plants were designed to really benefit our health. I think they, the beings like the Pleiadians would have created nature itself, not just us and not just other beings like dragons or giants or elementals, but the whole thing, all of it.
Yes, and thank you for clarifying that, because I was just going to ask you if that's what you meant, and that is what you mean, is that this whole planet Earth, not just the people, animals, fish, everything, insects, but the actual plants and trees also created, and with the intention that it's like a math equation. The plants and trees give to the people animals, and then the people animals give to the plants and trees. And when I think about things like scientific changes and evolution, I think about our relationship with the earth and our sovereignty, because what might seem really gross is a really beautiful thing. Cow dung comes to mind, good old cow poo, feces, because traditionally cow dung, for example, is very clean, even though it's feces. It's very clean because the cows eat clean organic food, and whether we eat the meat from the cow, it's clean meat because it's organically fed, and when it goes to the bathroom, it's providing organic substance for us that even people today in parts of the country will use cow dung to put on their baskets and whatnot, kind of like to seal it, and also as a fertilizer. They touch it with their hands. They're not concerned about it. But here in North America, if I started playing with cow dung, it has like a completely different, it would be gross. You wouldn't do that with cow dung here in North America, because we're not feeding it organic substances like before. And so it just makes me think all kinds of things, like where are the Pleiadians and the scientists to update our food? Where are they in this food crisis situation? And that could be frustrating. The classic case, like where did Yeshua go when he had a dragon? And where did this, it opens up more and more questions, right? Like, that's why I like hanging out with you, because it's questing. You go on a quest to get answers, but then you end up asking more questions. And really, that's the whole purpose of going on a quest is getting more questions. Because I took notes when you were talking, but it was like, also when you were talking about the plants and trees and who made us, well, there's like a progression, step 1, step 2. Like, you can't just give a baby a steak dinner. They don't even have the teeth, or, they can just suck on it at best. So even food-wise for our species, because we weren't always Homo sapiens sapiens, even if we got into a conversation about chromosome 2 and scientists messing up our genetics, but at some point, like, there were no ape species whatsoever. We were all like simple cells and organisms. Because the mushroom kingdom predates the plant and tree kingdom. And so in truth, plants came after mushrooms. Mushrooms were here first. And so I think, like, what species eats mushrooms? And then what happened to the species where they needed to be provided with a shift, plants and trees? It's very interesting to me. And I agree with what you said. I just have my own beliefs. I can't prove anything I say, but it's like the size, everything was jumbo sized, like you said. And when we think about mushrooms, we think about little tiny mushrooms. We might think of a big mushroom like this big, or like maybe one of those big white puffball mushrooms. But really, mushrooms used to be bigger than homes. Mushrooms used to be the size of mountains. And earlier when you were talking about how the dragons and unicorns, they knew, okay, the reptilians are taking over. This is bad news. Everything is basically biological. They're going to try and genocide, extinct it all, snuff it out. So the best case scenario was for them to become in spirit form, to be invisible. But now we're starting to see they're like unvisible. They're revealing themselves. But it also see, just got me really thinking here. And I like to think, thank you, by the way, but also got me thinking because long ago, somewhere in Indigenous history, there's lots of stories that are not clear. And one of those stories is that technology was like a cool thing. People liked technology because it made things possible. But then people realized, hey, this is a slippery slope. And people were saying no. And if there was like a divide, those who want to be with technology, you stay over here. Those of us who don't want anything to do with technology, we're going to go up in the mountains. And I believe that became the Sasquatch folks who are up in the mountains. And it just made me think about people inside the earth as well, not just to get away from pollution and fighting, but to get away from technology. And so it just seems like you just can't get away from technology. And it seems like the fall really comes down to technology, power, and control. And even Jesus being caught up in the middle of all of this. I'm just kind of going on here now, but it struck me when you said too that they tried to dumb us down, which I also believe is accurate, because I believe we were severely abused as a species, and this is all why we're having these conversations, because we're very intelligent and we're creative, innovative, and we're a story species, and we have the power to shift the very present moment. And in my strong opinion, that's very threatening to people who are power and control hungry. And it's possible that the very people, folks, species that created us are intimidated by us. So it just comes back to the story of Frankenstein, basically, where the creator Frankenstein is now scared of Frankenstein and needs to be abusive. And then Pedro left a comment here. Hi, Starseed Lola. I see you there in the comments. Somewhere back here, he was talking about abuse. He was talking about giants connected to Nephilim. They are evil and they build menhirs and human sacrifices. They ate humans alive, not respectful the rituals of sacrifice. And I mean, I don't know if that's true or not, but I do believe that there were huge ethical issues involved. And I do believe that angels, ETs, giants, they're no different than us in the sense of their own personal autonomy, making good choices, poor choices. And I do believe too that people meat is on the menu. So that's like where it can get really awkward with ETs. We can talk about the vegan cuisine, but there's just a lot of layers here, right? Lots and lots of layers. I tend to throw lots at my guests, but any comments you want to make, Soma, about anything that I said?
Thank you, Gina.
I said a lot, I know. Come on my show 100 million times tomorrow, okay?
But here's the thing: we have good humans and bad humans on Earth. And the same is for the reptilians, and I believe the same for the giants. The ones that I've seen that are still alive are good and wouldn't be eating humans. So I don't know what they're eating, but perhaps it's the mutilated cows that I don't know. I don't know. But I believe giants were good and bad. Just like humans are, just like, I've heard reports of good reptilians. So I think within every species there is good and bad. I don't think it's as black and white. I think sometimes there's gray areas as well, and would like to ask if you would like to, perhaps we can do a Q&A in if people have questions about anything.
Yeah, there's always questions. We already have some questions here in the chat, but just before we get to questions, let me highlight you on my Buy Me a Coffee. Let me screen share here because I want to make sure I show you off a little bit and let everybody know about how you're speaking at the conference. It should be up here. Okay, just pulling this up. Okay, let me remove that. I don't know what that was. Okay, try this again here. I know it works. I know I can screen share.
So I just wanted to say a big fat hello to everyone watching now and in the future. And if you have questions, do come and ask. Don't be shy. I'm really delighted to be here and to connect with you through Gina. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we can ask you questions all day long. That's the thing. Okay, let me, just before we take questions, I did see some in the chat there and some comments too. So this is my Buy Me a Coffee page. If you go to today's post, you will see Soma ARah right here, number 24 on today's show, Story Species, Story Medicine. I post on here pretty much every day. So you can read Soma's biography. Her link is there, somaarah.love/cosmic-starseed-academy. It's in there, but also these are the pictures that I wanted to show you. So that's just the thumbnail for today's show. This is what Soma will be talking about at our conference this Saturday. Summer Daze, Pleiadian channeling, a contactee and channel for the Pleiadians since childhood. So Soma's not going to go into the actual details about her trauma, but she's going to talk about how, voices and communication started coming to her and how that relationship built over the years. Here's the special message that I was talking about earlier. This is from Soma. We are not alone. We have never been alone. We do not come from Earth. We are the ancient aliens. We are the Pleiadians. We are the children of light. We are the star seeds. And you can see Soma highlighted here on the bottom left corner. We have our other amazing dragon speakers lined up. Starseed Lolo is in the chat. That's Laura Ferguson. And our dragon monitors.
Hi,
myself,
Laura.
I'll be showing... I'll be showing my first mini movie, Lushing. And I just want to show people, if you wanted to get a ticket for Summer Daze, you just go to my Buy Me a Coffee, go to shop, and you'll see it right here. So you can buy it for $40 Canadian. It's quite the Dragon's Delight, quite the steal of a deal. And that's from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. And I'll be hanging out half an hour before. So stories are our medicine. Hanging out here today with Soma, just very casual chit chat. But there's a lot of dragon dreamers out there who they don't have anybody to talk to. Sightings of the Virgin Mary, angels, ETs, Bigfoot, all of this stuff we soak up as a community. So everybody out there, you have a soul tribe. Your soul tribe awaits you. And Soma is very much part of our soul tribe. So I saw some comments here, just to skim them quickly, was that Pedro started talking about muscaria mushrooms, the ones with the red caps. Those are also considered a gift from cow dung. A lot of people abuse it, but it's really good medicine. It does take your mind to another place, and it can be quite a healthy practice to incorporate. And the problem with things like doing mushrooms is the stigmas that come with it, right? So, and then Laura was asking a question about the red-haired giants. She's asking the red-haired giants, the skulls they found in Peru or ancient aliens. When you were talking about a red-haired giant, you said, I think it was from Scotland?
Yes, during a channeling, I was shown an image very clear image of a giant, a red-headed male giant living in Scotland, up high North Scotland, very remote area, with practically no people there. And so that's what I've seen. So the giants are not completely extinct. There are still giants. And yes, the red-headed giants and the skulls have been found in various different places. And also at the Smithsonian Institute there's been reports of them where they've tried to, or have, taken the large skeletal remains of giants and taken them out far into the ocean and chucked them overboard, so that the remains are undiscoverable, so we've been lied to on a mass scale, just about everything, the water, the earth, ourselves, our history, our technology, UFOs, our bloodline, our DNA, our blood, our healing abilities, just everything. So we really
When you
have to
say
question the
giants,
narrative.
Soma, how big are these giants? Like 12 feet, or are they like 30 feet? Like, how big is big? Or are they just kind of
Yeah,
like 8, 9 feet tall,
the one that I saw was at 20 to 30 feet. Yeah, very, very, very big. And I think that I think they might even have been originally like hundreds of feet, and then gradually, as they were interfered with and dumbed down like we were, they got smaller and smaller and smaller for them, until they've ended up into like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 feet. And there are remnants of that DNA, I believe, within humans. I know there was a man that there's some conditions, they call them, that are diagnosed where they're with the giantism DNA within human beings. There's also dwarfism as well, which I think comes from a different lineage or species, where you've got the giants, but you've also got the dwarfs, which look extremely different. And I think both of those were interfered with, like we have been interfered with. In fact, I probably would go so far as to say that everything on Earth has been interfered with. It's like a giant kind of prison planet where things have been extremely interfered with in DNA and but yes, giants.
Yeah, absolutely. And half hawk, half man is saying that he has giantism. And, when you were talking, I was thinking about a show I watched when I was a kid. Now, this is the thing. Did I watch TV, or was TV watching me? Because a lot of the shows I watched when I was a kid, nobody knows what the hell I'm talking about. So I don't know if it was a dream or whatever that came to me. The one show that I watched was about giants, and somebody took the time to do the math. And it was about, could giants have existed once upon a time? And there was all these rocks, and they were basically trying to say that these rocks could function as furniture, just like you would sit in a couch. And when they looked at the math, it was consistent that, yeah, this would be for an arm. Yeah, this would make sense for a leg. And that there was like a standard size that was created. And of course, all these rocks got knocked over and whatnot to destroy any evidence. And then I've also heard stories where even today they're excavating giants like all of the time. It's very normal, but we don't hear about it because they're immediately like crushed up and everything. I didn't hear the part about being tossed in the water, but why not, or literally just broken apart and buried in different places so that nobody can find these, or even using bones crushed up in cement, because the best place to hide is right in plain sight. And so I have all kinds of interesting dreams, and so it's interesting when you're talking. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, there's also reports. So there's two things that's coming to mind as you're speaking, Gina. One is the question of pink Himalayan salt, and what is that really? There is reports or theories, and I don't know if they are accurate or not, but there's reports of the Himalayan salt actually be coming from remnants of giants. And also the other thing is, it's gone now, sorry. The other thing, so it was salt, and also, yes, thank you. So the other thing is, I'm saying thank you because they're telling me what I forgot. But the other thing is, there's been reports of, and I think it was through Michael Tellinger that I might have heard it online, where some of the statues of human beings have been broken off, but it looks like it was at one point, it looks like it was actually human, because you can see the insides of what was once there, which of course has been turned to stone now. But there are reports of, that there's writings in the Bible of human beings being turned to stone. So, and Michael Tellinger, if people are interested in that, he has a lot of information on, or some information, because he's evolving himself as he's discovering and learning about these things and sharing the teachings. And one of his questions is, how old are some of these fossilized evidence, of whether they be giants or stones, or, that's one of his questions, is how old are these really? Because the dates are not correlating to each other.
Wow, that's so fascinating. And there's a question in the chat here from Pedro. He's wondering, do you communicate to tall white Pleiadians? So is there like Pleiadians and then tall white Pleiadian hybrids, or?
Well, so I predominantly channel Ashtar, Commander in Chief, or Chief in Commander. And when he turned up, he was behind me in my center, and I was able to see him because I've done mediumship since I was a child. And to me, he just looked like spirit, but there was an extra quality about him. There was an extra brightness. But I never really questioned it at the time. And I actually had to Google who he was, because I didn't know at the time. I'd forgotten. But he said, "Hello, I'm Ashtar." And is very tall, blonde hair, blue-eyed, very angular features, long blonde hair, the blue auric field, a lot of blue coming off him. And so that is how they look to me. But I have seen others that are more dark-skinned, not Mexican, but Mexican, kind of European, or like a leather tanned color skin, that are Pleiadian. So it's, but the universe is teeming with life. Like, there's so many different species, and we do not originate from Earth at all. So that, there's beings that live beneath the Earth, underground, on our planet. There's very, a lot of us will look very similar. So we will look. Some of us look very similar to Pleiadians. But we're there's a friend of mine that uses the word diced and spliced, and I don't really like that. But we have been.
I tend to say that, spliced and diced.
Yes. So, and there was a time they showed me where they were the Pleiadians and others that they were working with were creating beings like the half horse, half man. There were giant spiders. There was a bull that was created, and there were experiments that went very wrong, like the bull that had a huge amount of testosterone and therefore kind of a crazy anger. And so there were experiments that went wrong, and the dinosaurs were, I wouldn't say the dinosaurs went wrong, but that was one of the experiments. And of course there's the question, which I believe is accurate, where what were the dinosaurs, or were they dragons? Were they dinosaurs or dragons? And I think they were one and the same. I think the word dragon was replaced with dinosaurs. Oh,
you're frozen.
So yeah, dinosaurs.
You keep freezing, unfreezing. Let me remove you from this stage and bring you back. Sometimes that helps. Okay. The last thing I heard was that the dinosaurs are possibly the dragons that were experimented on became the dinosaurs. And you know what's really interesting is whenever I talk about dragons, people tend to think of these ferocious dragons, right? But my dragon is very, very gentle, very huge and gigantic, but very gentle and very concerned about aggressive behavior, because how we think and feel matters to the point that it changes our very biology. And so when I think about dragons, I think about like little parasites, bacteria. For me, those were the original everything, categories aside, bacteria, parasite. But like to me, there was nature that was unfolding, but at some point somebody basically started raping nature and telling nature, this is going to be your new program, if you will. And that's when things didn't start making sense. And when we had these conversations, we realized that things haven't been making sense for some time. And when we start thinking about breakaway societies, and like what you were saying in your special message, like we're not even from here. Like, where are we from? And there's so many theories that planet Earth is really special because of the biology. Some people believe that we're hidden here, But going back to the tall whites, back to that question, like when you're channeling the Pleiadians, do they ever just kind of say, okay, now we're going to switch over because a tall white wants to talk to you, or oh, now we're getting a message from the gray, or is it just all Pleiadian for you?
Well, it's really predominantly Pleiadian, and it's that frequency that sometimes others that I'm connected to do step in. So the ones that I really predominantly channel are Ashtar, is always at the top of the queue. And then you've got the Pleiadian collective. And then there are Lyran beings that I channel. I also channel Jesus or Yeshua. I have also channeled Mary Magdalene, and Merlin and Mother Mary, kind of in that order. Let me see. I also channel my guides and other people's guides but that's more in personal readings. And yeah, so that's kind of that's what some of the beings that I channeled. That's in fact, I would say that's all of them. Although I have channeled angels as well.
So it's almost like there's a hierarchy. Like if somebody's going to talk to you, the biological one known as Soma, it's going to be the Pleiadians first, almost like a protection. Like we're step one. You got to get through us if you want us to pass the phone over to her. That's what came to my mind.
Yeah, it is. Yes, I hadn't
And
thought of it
I
like
wanted to
that
share
before,
something
but
funny
it
with
is like that.
everybody. So I think it's a two-way thing. I think Soma loves to channel the Pleiadians, and I think the Pleiadians love having Soma as the hollow bone, allowing them to channel their message through her. And it's funny because behind the scenes for the upcoming conference, I asked the presenters to send me a pre-recorded video of their presentation. And Soma, it's like, 5 seconds into her presentation, and all of a sudden the Pleiadians are coming in and they start channeling. So I had to message Soma and be like, no, not a pre-recorded channeling session. So we had to like tell the Pleiadians in a nice way that Soma, the presentation is about her. It's not about the Pleiadians, even though the Pleiadians are part of that presentation, because on Saturday, Soma won't be channeling the Pleiadians, which might throw some people off, because it's going to be Soma talking about Soma and how the relationship developed with the Pleiadians. And so I just thought that was hilarious. But I was wondering if the Pleiadians had any special messages for us today, knowing that we won't have a chance for them to channel on Saturday.
Yes, I'd actually made a mistake there, because I thought I was channeling on Saturday, but I'm happy to do that today.
Yeah, if there's a special message that's coming through, we'd love to hear it. And then we'll say goodbye to you. And then, on Saturday, it's basically just reiterating how it all started, what it was like. And I know a lot of people are going to be soaking it up. So, I got your pre-recorded presentation too, the one that's not channeling, just the one of you talking. That's what's good. The reason I asked the presenters for a pre-recorded is in case we have tech issues or something like that. Then at least I have a backup video to play. Yeah. But thank you so much, Pedro and Iron Bear. I see you there in the chat talking about Hollywood and just perspectives of dragons are bad, and people doing research and basically Hollywood eating it up, taking information as truth. So very interesting. But before we say goodbye to you, any final thoughts from you, Soma, or did the Pleiadians want to share something with us?
Yes. How long do we have, Gina?
Well, it's been about an hour. I know you've got another show there, so I would say maybe another 15 minutes, somewhere in there. Hi, Julia. I see you there coming in the chat. Anchor Haven. Julia also presenting on Saturday.
Oh, let us get straight to it, as time is of the essence, not just in this now as we are connecting with you, but also on a grander scheme of things. Things are on your planet happening extremely at a vast, rapid pace. You are evolving in a seemingly very short space of time. You are in an ascension process right now, and you are accurate in your description earlier when Soma was saying how you are not from your planet. You are a multitude of the universe. Thank you. Is a multitude of different species and races and beings. You are not from your planet originally. We created you in our likeness, as we created many different beings, and some of them are on other planets, other star systems, other races, other species. Your universe is teeming with life, and we are not the only creators. There are many creators, such as Syrians and Lyrans, our brothers and sisters, the lion energy. You have been lied to on such a mass scale that the truth is unbelievable. And within that word, you will find a lie, L-I-E, your language has been changed, manipulated, and adapted to the point of being ridiculous or ridicule us, which is a good example of your language. Another example that came to Soma today was well, W-E-L-L, as she was listening to a podcast about a water well and how those two things are intricately the same meaning. A water well or well-being. They are connected because water is a healing device, a healing tool. One of the things we would like to share with you today is that you are different. As starseeds, those listening to this, to us now, your technology is amazing. Depending on who is using the technology. It is not the technology that is the problem. It is rather the species. And we use the word species. It is rather the species that is using the technology and where they are present within their own frequency and vibration, their own evolutionary period. We see your world. We see how many of you are still affected by the darkness that is coming to the surface and to the light. And we would say your individual frequency, you are in control of it. We've often spoken of love being a frequency that is measurable and therefore creatable within yourself. You are creator beings and you have the ability to, more than the ability to change your own frequency. For example, a depressed person has the ability to change that frequency to a higher state of being. They may not be aware of it, but that is a natural law. You are creator beings. You get to create, you get to choose everything, including your own frequency, especially your own frequency. And in these days now, that is crucial, that you expand your own frequency of love and step into that in order to maintain the craziness of your world, of your planet, because things have not got darker, so to speak, but a light is being shone on the dark, so the dark is coming to the surface. However, we will add, and Soma has noticed this herself, we will add that there are technologies used on your planet these days, very recently, where there are some very unhinged occurrences happening on your planet. We're referring particularly to the ones in the place that you call Belfast or Northern Ireland that happened yesterday or a few days ago. These individuals are being targeted by technology used in a negative way. Voice to skull technology, for example, is being used to create situations that are very dark. And there is an evilness of situations that are occurring on your planet because of these technologies being targeted at certain individuals that are already unhinged. So it is more important than ever that you step into the frequency of love, that you raise your vibration, and also alongside that, that you ground your energies into the earth, that you connect bare feet, barefooted on Mother Earth, on the grass, on the soil, on the sand, on the dirt, on the manure even. We love you. We are the Pleiadian collective with Ashtar as our Ashtar commander-in-chief, or chief and commander as our spokesperson. We leave you today with the frequency of love, of light, of sound, of music, of vibration, of upliftment, of joy, of love, of laughter. We leave you with love.
Oh, thank you so much for all of that information. I took a lot of notes, and thank you for leaving us in love. Because you know what? The mind's number one job is to protect you, even if it means lying to you and creating false inhibiting beliefs. And so, even if you don't feel love right now or feel safe, if you can be in that energy of love, even if you're lying to yourself and faking it, then what that's going to do is shift the very biology in you. And that's what makes us powerful, because we are our own creators, and we can take the present moment. So if we're feeling very negative for whatever reasons, we can create our own thoughts, which shift our emotions, and every thought is followed by an emotion, followed by a chemical biological reaction. And so I can appreciate why the Pleiadians and others like them always leave us in love. And I also wrote down that we were soft technology. It left me with more questions, more questing. We're going to have you back. But I was also wondering about things like, I don't know if you can answer this right now, but even just like food, without getting into an ethical conversation, but like everybody's got to eat, right? So as we're ascending, what do we eat? Like, are we future energy vampires, so to speak? Like, is the future of food going to be absorbing through the skin, and then just eventually we don't even have skin or blood or bones anymore? We're just like formless beings sustained by absorbing energy. I don't really know. I don't know. It left me with more questions. but I like that.
Well, here's the thing. You are formless beings in a higher dimension. You are us, and we are you from the future. But you have and let us take the word "but" out, and you have manifested into physical beings. But you are simultaneously in many different places simultaneously, and many of you, many of your other selves, do not need food in the way that your physical self, your human self, does. Food is an interesting one, because food actually changes, and we are still channeling. Even though she has her eyes open, food is an interesting one, because food has the ability to actually change your DNA, to change your frequency, to change your thoughts, to chocolate is a good example, because sometimes when Soma eats chocolate, it makes her happy. It gives her endorphins that help to uplift her mood. So food is interesting, and it has been adapted in a very negative way through not just poisons and toxins, but also chemtrails do affect your food, as they affect you, as they affect the earth, the grass, the insects, the soil. There's been reports of large or a reduction in your bee population because of some of the chemtrails that are being used upon you, that are being sprayed upon you. Thank you. So your food is an interesting one. It is a big, important subject. that there was a time on your planet where the human, we use that word lightly, did not need to eat. Places like Lemuria and other places in the universe where there are other species that do not need to eat. They get their energy from different places. From the sun is a good example, but they are more advanced than where humanity is right now. That is such a huge question and answer that we would like to look at or get into more in depth at a future time. We feel that would be more appropriate, but for now, we feel that is adequate.
Yes, thank you for answering that. That is insightful for sure. And I would love to revisit that along with many other conversations too. There's a lot of things that you folks have said. Makes me think about my mini movie that I created, Blueshing and Energy Vampires, because we learn that the good guy and the bad guy are the same guy, and that everybody needs to eat, and that we can't think of the Lushers as bad guys. And in my story, anyways, it's presented as a nightmare, a real nightmare. But ultimately, the Grim Reaper and I have a conversation, and he explains to me that, when the Lushers killed the children, they came in and they killed. There was no suffering, and it was like true predator nature where they hunted and took down. And in that perspective, it was considered ethical. The ongoing problem, though, is that the hunted are intelligent. And it seems interesting, too, like the very blood and bones of anything biological on this planet would be a real answer to a prayer for other folks out there in the cosmos. It would be front page news if we were discovered, because when it comes to bacteria and relationships with the land, anything that has blood and bones and that can rot, think like we're the sacred stink club that we all belong to. We require that in order to feed the earth. And it seems to me there's a demand to have biology, and the demand comes with a sacred relationship with biology, going back to the cow dung earlier when I mentioned it. And we're part of that cycle too. And I just, wow, we have to have you back on lots more. Lots more. I also thought about the Tatanchis when you were speaking, because I heard that the Tatanchis created us, but I know you said there's lots of creators out there, and I can't help but think about where is the responsibility, accountability. Like, it seems to me creators also get bullied within the creating collegial relationships. There's bullying that's going on, and no leadership likes to admit to that, and it seems to me there's a bunch of misfits coming together. Oh, go ahead.
I'd be delighted to come back. You have so many questions, and they are always wanting to bring, answer people's questions. They're always wanting to do that. They're very, they talk a lot. They're very forthcoming with their information, and always wanting to give answers, that I could not, I don't know those answers, and it's interesting because sometimes they have said stuff that I disagree with.
That's a good point to make. Me too. And I appreciate the humility that the Pleiadians have, because one of my pet peeves, like when people are channeling and whatnot, it's like they feel this pressure, like they have to answer all the questions. And it's okay to say, I don't know the answer, or, I, like me personally, I might not be there on my journey yet. And also earlier at one point you were talking about language and how it's become ridiculous. And I thought, yeah, that's so true, because we don't even know what the hell we're talking about anymore, because our conscious mind demands a box. So we do well with dictionary definitions, so we know what we're talking about, so we have a common language. But then as that language alchemizes, we deny that very alchemy, or we have scientists making discoveries and it's like, well, no, we can't reveal that truth yet. And so our very language is getting mixed up. And knowing that we're a story species and how we require language, we require all the elements that belong to a story, the beginning, the middle, the end, the archetypes, the symbols. Like, to me, it would make sense that we were created to be a story species. And I could see like this business of language being medicine, but also language in itself becoming toxic, and makes me think about feelings being weaponized. And so I'm just very wowed by this, and I like thinking about thinking. And so I thank you for being here today. And I feel like we're just getting started, but we need to do like a 10-hour marathon or something, I think, just to hash out all this talking here.
Let's do that.
Yeah. So any final thoughts, Soma, before we say goodbye to you or the Pleiadians? I don't know if you're still channeling. I thought you were done channeling last time. Sorry. But this Saturday, you're going to be at the show. Okay. Because last time you mentioned she's not finished channeling. I was like, oh, okay, sorry, I didn't realize. But this Saturday, you're going to be at Summer Daze. The link is there in the description, so you can get tickets on my Buy Me a Coffee. You can also book sessions with Soma herself, do some channeling with her, see what's going on, and do some healing with Soma. The link for Soma is in the description as well. Yes, Soma.
Actually, I would like to offer your audience that are listening now and in the future, I would like to offer them a gift of 50% off my readings. So if you let me know, if you'd like that, and let me know, and I will give you that 50% off discount.
Just tell you that they're part of the Dragon Dream Soul Tribe Collective, and when they're booking.
Yes.
Hey, well, that's very generous of you, Soma. Thank you so much for that. I'm sure everybody will appreciate that. It's hard to find somebody authentic, and so you're authentic, and I can see people booking with you. That's very nice.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let me just show the little thumbnail here. There's Soma ARah, first-time guest today here, and also one of our dragon dreamers, daring to dream with us so courageously at our conference, Summer Daze, this Saturday. And we're going to have Soma back on Launch just to talk about the Pleiadians, and also just to talk more about you and your thoughts as well. Because I think it's funny when people are channeling and there's like disagreements that they're having with them, or just a different way that they might have worded something. And to me, that just heightens the fact that it's authentic, that it's real. So thank you so much, Soma, for being on my show today, Story Species, Story Medicine. I know you got to get, Soma's popular. She's got all kinds of back-to-back things to do. And even after the conference, already making arrangements to be on Michael Culp's show and whatnot. So we've got lots of Soma. We're just getting to see the beginning of her today. So I'll remove you from this stage. Thank you so much again, Soma, for being with us today. That is a phenomenal deal, 50% off. If you want to book with Soma, do that right away. It's a great time. There's really no time like the present moment. I look forward to seeing you all this Saturday. It's going to be a phenomenal, epic conference, just like the first one. Promise of Spring, we got lots of amazing feedback, and I know that Summer Daze is going to be amazing as well. On my end, my homework is all checked off, and so behind the scenes, Michael Kopf and I were having some fun putting together a second mini movie. The first mini movie, Lushing, I ended up doing it all by myself. So I'm definitely going to need your support on Saturday when I play it for the first time ever. And it's really scary, and it's somewhat interesting and hilarious because I don't watch scary movies. I don't really like scary movies. So what am I even doing kicking off my movie series with a scary movie? But you know what? That's how things unfolded. And I'm really looking forward to Saturday and this great unfolding, because the conferences are the part now where my dream life and my waking life bridge together. Me doing this very show my Dragon Dreams Oracle. It's out there. It's for purchase. My books, they're out there. You can buy them. And just having people like Soma on my show, it's bridging the dream life with the waking life. And on that note, if you would like to be a guest right here on Story Species, Story Medicine, just reach out to me, Gina Virginia Casella, Story Species, Story Medicine, Extra Strength. I hope you got your dose today. And we've got a heavy dose coming this Saturday. So without further ado, I'm going to end this live stream. Gina Virginia Casella here, the one behind the Dragon Dreams Soul Tribe Collective. Thank you for daring to dream with me so courageously. And Laura's saying, we're a dream within a dream. You're right. It's like putting a mirror in front of a bunch of mirrors and you just see like mirror after mirror after mirror. That's us. We're dream within dream within dream within dream. So thank you so much, Dragon Dreamers. And tomorrow I'll be live just hanging out with you. Come hang out with me and make sure you visit my Buy Me a Coffee. We've always got something to look forward to. Take care.